What is up, everybody? Welcome back to another NBA Rundown brought to you courtesy of Run Pure Sports and Run Pure Bets. We had a game 7 yesterday, and I got Hoop with me. What did you think of Kawhi Leonard and the Los Angeles Clippers advancing yesterday, Hoop?
Yeah, I mean, impressive performance. I mean, I was on the Clippers obviously when the spread was pretty big. I mean, they favored by what 6.5, 7 points. I kind of didn't really waver away from the Clippers all series. I mean, it didn't look good for them. It didn't look good for a while, but they got it together. Kawhi obviously stepped up, and they advanced. And we got some comments on Twitter. I know, oh, you guys gonna apologize to about your comments about Ty Lue. I still think he's a shitty coach, but he made the moves, but to me it wasn't quick enough. I mean, you have to make adjustments right away in these series, or you're just not going to have an opportunity to advance. Yes, as the series went on, I think he got better and he made these moves. I think that we thought he should have made very early on in the series. It was very evident right away Zubac could not play in this series. I mean, it was very clear if you watch the games, and ultimately that's what led them to success in this series is him not playing Morris and playing Batum a ton of minutes. That was the key. Now, NBA is different. It's series to series. This series against the Jazz now, they're going to absolutely need Zubac a ton with Gobert. But in terms of the Clippers, yeah, like I said, I thought they'd advance. They did. We threw some shade to Ty Lue, and I think it was deserved. And like I said, he didn't make the adjustments quick enough. He ultimately got there, and they advanced in the series. They're a much better team than the Mavs. It should never gone 7 games, in my opinion.
Yeah, okay, and let's give credit to Ty Lue, right? Moving Batum to 5 in the Draymond Green role, fantastic move. We all saw that one coming. The replacement of Reggie Jackson for Patrick Beverly, I wasn't too
Yeah.
hype on it as someone who would back the Clippers in some of these games, but by Game 7, I was with him. I can't believe that Reggie Jackson in 2021, made that much of an impact on the
Yeah.
series. But he went ahead and did it, and that's got to be tough to bench, a veteran leader like Patrick Beverly. Also, Rondo, greatly diminished his role, and so we'll go ahead and give him credit. I thought Carlisle made some nice adjustments too, but he was just overmatched, right? Just like playing chess, but you start with two less rooks or something. That's how it felt for Carlisle.
Yeah.
So we'll see where Dallas goes in the offseason, but great win for the Clippers, and it's going to be a fun matchup next round. Now you alluded to it a little bit. Zubac's going to get some run against Gobert there, and of course, I think it's a fairly good matchup here for the Clippers, right? I mean, unathletic wings going against PG and Leonard. Line fairly evenly. I'm seeing about a minus 130 Utah, about plus 115 comeback on the Clippers. How do you see this next series playing out?
Yeah, I mean, I'm long on the Clippers. Like going in, I thought they'd make a run here. First round, obviously, they didn't play the greatest, and I think they advance. I think they beat Utah for the reasons that you mentioned. I mean, you need very quality wing players, defenders specifically, to compete with the Clippers and the Jazz. That's kind of their biggest weakness. Now, a guy I think that will step up, and he's going to have to play probably almost the entire game in all these is going to be Royce O'Neal. I mean, he's going to have to play a ton of basketball. He's going to be guarding most likely Kawhi and some Paul George. He needs to have a really good series on the defensive end, at least in my opinion, for the Jazz to have a chance. If he can't slow down one of these guys, it's going to be trouble because I think they both could absolutely go off. Bogdanovich is definitely not the answer. Joe Ingles is not the answer. They typically already play a little bit small with Conley and Mitchell. Mitchell's not going to be able to check one of these guys. So I think Paul George and Kawhi should have very, very big series here. So I'm gonna, I already put a little bit on it, but I might dip in a little bit more on the Clippers here in the series. I think they do ultimately advance because of the matchup problems.
Yeah, I was hoping to get a better price. I'm not sure. I'm with you. I like the Clippers here. I'm a little worried here about this game 1 matchup though. Quick turnaround, right? They played yesterday. They'll tip off tomorrow night, and the travel to Utah. I'm with you on the Clippers. I'm almost thinking though, do they drop 1-0 and then I get like a plus 150 or plus 160 after game 1? Maybe I'll split my stake for that possibility here. But you mentioned some great points, and let's talk about how are you going to neutralize the rim defender? you're going to shoot
Yeah.
threes, and that's what the Clippers like to do. In fact, they got to the rim the least often of any of the playoff teams going into the playoffs. They got in the paint, attacked the paint the least. They like to chuck it from outside, and I think this bodes well for them in this matchup. Like I said, though, don't know if I want to jump in right away. I think this game one will be tough, and if you give me a plus 50 down 1-0 where I can just steal game two, head back home to the Staples Center, where they didn't play that well, which was quite odd. So we'll see, we'll see how that turns out as well too. But this one should be a lot of fun. And just let me get your quick thoughts. Yesterday, of course, it was a game one, but that's where we get a lot of the feelings out and a lot of the adjustments here. The Hawks came up big. Embiid played a lot better than we expected. Tyler and I didn't think that he was going to be effective. We thought it was going to be Anthony Davis part two. It was not. He looked pretty good. He wasn't 100% though. But I think he's going to play this whole series and be pretty effective. What did you think of that series yesterday, and what do you expect tomorrow night?
Yeah, I mean, I was on I think it was last Thursday when we did the show, me, you, Tyler, and Title, and we were all kind of on the Hawks in the series. I bet the Hawks in the series. But after seeing Embiid yesterday, I circled back and just locked in the profit. I mean, it wasn't a huge profit, but I bet the 76ers in the series because of what we saw with Embiid. I mean, he's going to play this whole series. He played, 38, 39 minutes, looked effective. Yeah, not 100%, but you don't need Embiid, I don't think, 100%. So yesterday was good. I bet the Hawks. I bet the Hawks in the series. But like I said, the fact that Embiid was able to give it close to a full go in terms of minutes, I just circled back. I took the Sixers in the series, locked in the profit, basically. And I'm going to analyze this one as it goes on. I think there's going to definitely be some betting opportunities. I definitely think the 76ers win game two. I don't even know. Let's see. What's the spread? So 5. I'll probably bet the Sixers. I think they take care of business. Hawks shot the ball really, really well last game. I think we're definitely going to see some regression in that department. But this should be a fun series. I think the 76ers do ultimately pull it out because if Embiid's able to go, 38, 39 minutes per game, it's going to put them in a really good spot to pick up some wins here along the way.
All right, and so do we do it again here now? Do we go ahead and run down Doc Rivers the same way we did Ty Lue? Because some of those decisions in those lineups he was running out there were absolutely terrible, right? But if they win in 7, it's okay. I wasn't impressed with his performance yesterday. No. What did you think of that?
Yeah, he's always a guy that I like him. I think he's good. He's a good leader of the team. But some of his rotations, to me, it's like the most common sense stuff. If you have 2 stars, they have 3 guys. They have 3 stars. They need one of those guys to be on the court at all time. That's just It's just a no-brainer. It's a no-brainer that Harris, Embiid, or Simmons, one of those 3 should be on the court at all times. The fact that there's stretches where all 3 were out is just the dumbest, most basic mistake you could make as a coach. I assume next game he'll make some of those changes, but some of these coaching decisions lack a ton of common sense, and we'll call them out when we see them.
Yeah, I wonder if these guys just get caught up in the moment. I don't know, like something like that, right? It does seem simple, right? We want to have a shot creator or a scorer, to facilitate the offense on the floor at all time. Not to mention, those are all 3+ defenders, right? So it's not like a Lou Williams situation where you're sacrificing defense in order to get that offense on the floor. Those are 3 of your better defenders on the team. So I expect Doc to get better, though. I'm almost wondering if it's like Ty Lue here. And Nate McMillan, right? A guy that we didn't have confidence in all. He's looking great, and he's definitely raised his stock there. But, boy, he almost let that one sneak away. And can you imagine for Atlanta, if they would have lost that game, we might be sitting here saying Sixers in 4, they blew that great opportunity. But they didn't. They took the momentum. And now it's like they walk away. Even if let's say you bet the -5 tomorrow night, they lose by 20, they still got to go back to Atlanta feeling good. You're 1-1, you're heading home, right, where we expect all the role players to play better. So they played pretty good yesterday, though. So anyways, that series is a lot of fun. We like Atlanta. I don't think that you were I think you made a pretty good decision to just go ahead and jump off because Embiid's playing a lot better than we expected. Let's jump into tonight's game. So this is one Hoop, that I waited to place a bet on this because I want to talk to you on this. Now, if you've been on the shows with me, you've watched me on these shows, on appearances I've done on other shows. I've been Team Bucks. I thought this was their year. I love their defense. I love their ability to get boards. I love this matchup with the Nets. watching game one, I felt like a lot of what I said came through, except for the shooting variance. I was like, I was trying to give myself the Clippers Mavs vibe, right? Like, it's
Yeah.
okay, you just shot bad. They shot well. These things happen. But boy, the shot creation in the half court, Kevin Durant is so much better than Giannis at this point in their careers. I'm starting to doubt myself. I haven't come back on the Bucks. And the other thing that's weird, everybody that I talk to that I respect or listen to or check in on their picks, everybody's on the Bucks for this game
Yeah, a
too.
lot of people are on the Bucks. I know our boy Big T. I mean, he made his announcement before the series. He's on the Bucks.
Yeah,
Um, yeah, I mean, I'm on the Nets, and game one obviously went in my favor. So series long, I'm on the Nets tonight. Um, I have a strong lean about the other game that we'll get to the Nuggets
I
Suns
like the
game.
other game better too.
Yeah, I have a strong lean from a betting perspective on that game. This game, it's going to be easy for me tonight because I don't think I'm going to make a play unless you convince me one way or the other. This is the game for DFS. You mean you absolutely load up on this game. Bigger total. We have an injury situation. James Harden's going to be out. You're going to have to load up on the Nets tonight. If you're loading up on the Nets, you definitely want some exposure to the Buck side as well. So for me personally, this game is going to be a DFS game. I'm loading up here, going to bet more on the late game. Now, if I was making a play here, and I still might, like I said, I might. As it stands now, probably not. I lean the Bucks. I think the Bucks get this game. I do. I still like the Nets in the series. I think the Nets will finish this. I think it's a longer series, though, 6, 7 games. I think the Bucks get this one tonight. No James Harden. Is Blake Griffin going to have the game that he had in game one? I don't think so. I mean, he went off. I mean, Blake Griffin, he had 14 rebounds. How many points did he score? A lot
It
of.
was 18 and 14, and I had put that silly meme that he was only going to get one rebound, and boy, did I feel silly about that.
Yeah. I mean, you're not going to get that. You're not going to get that from him in this game. Yeah, I think he can be effective in the series, but that's a big boy game from Blake Griffin. I don't think he has it in the tank to do that consistently throughout the series. They're going to need more. I mean, Durant and Kyrie can clearly win this on their own. There's no doubt about that in my mind. But the Bucks have enough firepower. They're going to need something else. Mike James had a big game. Are they going to, can they count on Mike James to step up again in the second round of the playoffs? I don't know. I think this is a letdown spot for the Nets a little bit. So I think I probably lean the Bucks. Not super confident. I like I said, I'm still on the Nets in this series. This game though, I think I probably lean the Bucks. But like I said, DFS purposes, Blake Griffin is still 4.1K on DK. He's 5-1 or something on FanDuel. Great play on both sides. Mike James is 3.3K. He's going to play. Nash clearly trusts him. 3.3K, way too cheap. You play him. You definitely need at least one of Kyrie and Durant with James Harden out. Bruce Brown's another guy, should play mid-20s in terms of minutes. He's showing some upside throughout the season. So you're going to want to be on the Nets at a very frequent rate. If you're doing that, you're going to want to get some bucks. Giannis is clearly the guy that you want to go to. I wouldn't even mind going to Brook Lopez, Chris Middleton. Middleton's a better play on FanDuel than DraftKings. Middleton, 8-1 on DK, 7-7 on FanDuel, where you have to play the two small forwards. Drew Holiday, I think where his price is, he ends up getting squeezed. I like him in tournaments. Like I said, this is a really good spot here to really get some exposure in these in the DFS contest.
Let me ask you two more questions about value on the Bucks Nets. PJ Tucker, 3,200. Nico
Yeah.
Claxton, 3,100. I can do stars and scrubs, but do you think I'll get burned there?
No, I like going that route. I mean, you're going to, like I said, you want at least one of Kyrie and Durant, potentially two. And then if you're doing that, you're going to want some exposure to Bucks. You're forced into a stars and scrubs build. These stars, their upside is even more in the playoffs when they're going to play like 40 minutes. So stars and scrubs makes, to me, more sense in the playoffs, even so than in the regular season. So I'm on board with Tucker. Claxton, like I said, I think he's a fine play too. A lot of value here, a lot of spends. Like this is the spot to be when building your DFS lineups.
All right, and we love running down coaches. We got to run down Budenholzer, right? Only 15 minutes for the starting lineup. That was absolutely terrible. Lopez and Giannis, just like we talked about earlier, how are they not staggered for the rim protection? So you have an advantage at rim protection so big in this series, and now you're going to give it away through your rotations. That was absolutely terrible. Not trusting Jan. What is he keeping them fresh for? This is absolutely
Did it
terrible.
last year.
Yes, it's like not learning from your mistakes, right? I mean, it's just
I
so
mean,
rough.
it's clear. You look at the teams that are doing good in the playoffs. They play their guys 42, 43 minutes if they need to.
Yeah.
Budenholtz is just there's no other way to put it. He's just not a smart coach. Like when he first came in, everyone, he's very sharp, very sharp, very sharp. He's exposed himself because yes, with this Bucks roster, you're going to coast through the regular season. You're going to be fine. You have to make adjustments in the playoffs with your rotations. Like these guys need to be playing 40 minutes. You can't have them play 15 minutes in the first half. That is absolutely ridiculous. These stars, at the minimum, obviously in close games, they're going to play more in the second half. They need to be playing at least 18 minutes in the first half. There's no reason why they shouldn't be. World-class athletes. I mean, NBA players are probably the best athletes in the world. Like, get them out there.
And he's in the postgame saying they want to play. It's not like they're like LeBron asking out, right? Like the tap on the head or whatever that is. I mean, it was just absolutely terrible. With DiVincenzo being out, your depth is ruined to begin with, okay? I don't want Bryn Forbes is cool, but I don't want more than 15 to 18 minutes. I don't want more than 10 minutes of Pat Connaughton. I mean, come on, guys. I mean, this is just absolutely terrible. So hopefully we get a little more aggressive from Bud here tonight. I thought he made a lot of good adjustments during the regular season to various offense and to various defensive scheme. But, I mean, this rotations, it still seems to be his Achilles heel. Just absolutely terrible. So, hey, one other thing I'd like before we go to the next game. You mentioned the total here when we were talking about, building our DK lineups, and I think the totals are so indicative of where we want to go when we're building these lineups. I mean, I love it. I mean, would you be mad if I only had one player from the other game, right? I could see myself building a lineup that only had one player in the evening game. Like Big T says, put up the points and let him catch me. So this total, it was 240 for game one. Opened right around 235 for this game. Gets bet all the way down to 233. Now all the way back up to 236, or is it 236 and a half right now? Anyways, this 237. So the total is taking the most money that's at least causing the movement out of any game on the board right now. Where would you go on this total? I'm so upset that I was asleep. I would have crushed that 233. But, of course, all this line movement happens at 6 in the morning. I got to move to the East Coast. But what do you think of this total?
I mean, there's no chance in a game like this that I could bet the under. I just can't do it. I mean, if you're getting 40 minutes, probably in a close game, you're getting 40 minutes of Kyrie, you're getting at least 40 minutes of Kevin Durant. Assuming Budenholtz, is not an idiot in back-to-back games, which he probably will be, you should be getting a ton of minutes for Giannis, a ton of minutes for Middleton, Drew. Like, these guys are great offensive players. I just could not bring myself to bet an under in this game. I don't care. Like, even if this number was even higher, I don't think I could do it.
Yeah, I think we might have missed a little bit of value there for me not being up early, but I still lean towards the over here as well, especially at 236 and a half. It's still 3.5 points off the first game, but I mean, that's the hard part, right? So I do expect the Bucks to shoot better, right? But KD and Kyrie didn't necessarily shoot that well either, right? It's not like they shot the lights out.
No.
So they can improve as well. Makes me like the over. Just makes it tougher to get involved on the side. I think you can make good arguments on both sides. But here's where I'm going to plant a flag, Hoop. It's on this Denver Nuggets Phoenix Suns game, and I'll tell you what. So we know that everyone's on the Bucks. That worried me. Everybody seems to be on the Suns too, and I'm willing to go against them. I'm willing to take the Denver Nuggets. What do you think?
Well, I'm usually in lockstep with the crowd, but in these two series, I'm opposite because, man, give me the Nuggets here. I think they just continue to get disrespected. Do I think the Suns are the better team? Maybe. I don't know. Like, I honestly don't. I mean, obviously for me, this is very tough because the Nuggets have been the team for me that I've been higher on than most people. When Jamal Murray went down, I said, listen, I think they're still alive. Me and Big T talked about it a lot. He's obviously a big Nuggets fan. He's like, oh, it's done, they're done. I said, I don't think they're done. There's no standout team to me in the West. Like, I think they're still alive. He's kind of come on my side with it. Now the Suns, like I said, I've had the position all season long. This is a playoff or a regular season team. They're going to get exposed. in the playoffs. Now they get the matchup with the Lakers, and everyone's like, oh, they got the worst draw in the world. Well, it turns out it was probably the best draw in the world. You get the Anthony Davis injury, you get LeBron quitting on his team, essentially the first signs of something going wrong. LeBron just quits and gives up, and he's talking about cartoons and shit in his post-game conference. I mean, just such an asshole. That's a side note. I could go off on that for a while, but to me, the Nuggets just are not getting enough respect. I was on the Nuggets the first series, bet them to win that series against the Trailblazers, and now we're going to see the spreads about the same as in that first series. The Nuggets, when they're on the road, they're going to be they're 5-point underdogs. When they're at, what do you think it is when they're at home? Probably the same situation with the Trailblazers, like the spread.
It'll shoot to -2 for Denver. Yeah. I assume that would assume that Phoenix is 1 point better than Denver, and 3 points for home court, which I think is fair in the playoffs.
Yeah, I just think Denver. I think it's too wide of a spread. So I already bet the Nuggets. I made a pretty big play on the Nuggets in this game. But the money line too. I mean, you're getting a nice number. I mean, in some of these spots, what is it like? Yeah, plus 160 something. I just think these teams are a lot closer than the spread indicates. And like I said, I could be a little biased here because I've been higher on the Nuggets than most, and I've been lower on the Suns than most. So yeah, I'm sure there is some bias involved, but it's the stance I've had, and I'm sticking with it. So I bet the Nuggets in this game, and I bet them to win the series, and I feel pretty good about it.
All right, yeah, so let me jump into some talking points here that everybody's been using while they're picking the Suns. The number one, of course, is that Booker and Paul are way better than Monty Morris, Campazzo, and Austin Rivers, okay? Chris Paul's not 100%. He averaged like 9 points a game in that last series. This is not 100% Chris Paul, okay? And if you think that he's going to get 100% all of a sudden and start dropping a lot, I'll tell you what, he almost shot them out of that game. He almost shut them out of that game on Thursday night or whatever it was. I was sitting here and I was getting nervous. I was already counting my money from the Suns win, and then I'm saying, you know what? I might not be withdrawing that money tomorrow morning, right? He was getting me nervous, and then Booker took over. Booker said, "I'm not giving to you anymore." Chris Paul's calling for the ball. Booker said, "No, you missed the last three. Let the young fella do it." I do agree that Booker's fantastic, right? So there is an advantage there. I don't think it's as pronounced as people think because. Okay, number one, I'm not even worried about Chris Paul. Go ahead, let him beat me. If he wants to take 30 attempts a game, that's fine. I can put Aaron Gordon on Devin Booker. We know he struggles with taller defenders the same way he struggled against Anthony Davis in the first series when Davis was healthy. Now, is Aaron Gordon Anthony Davis? No. But on the defensive end, he's a lot closer than he is on the offensive end, okay? So I think he's a lot closer there. So the other thing that I think is being unnoticed, right, we want to talk about the Suns' backcourt advantage. What about the Nuggets' front court advantage? Okay? When they go to the bench, you're going to bring in Dario Saric and Frank Kaminsky, and I get to bring in Paul Millsap and JaMychal Green? Like, you have to be kidding me. You have to be kidding me. The front court advantage for the Nuggets is just as pronounced as it is for the Suns here. So, I mean, I'm all over the Nuggets here at this number, and I'm going to have the best player on the floor, too. Yep. One more thing I'd like to go in just to talk about it. So I did a lot of research for this, and this was a tougher one because you go to watch the game film from the regular season, you're not going to get anything of note really, right? Jamal Murray went off. He's not in it. Aaron Gordon wasn't on the team, okay? And Devin Booker missed one of the games. So what did I look at maybe, just to try and get anything out of it? I watched Ayton defend Jokic. Ayton's really good against Jokic in the post. I was surprised. He's really good in the post. But you know what Malone did? He's like, fine. I'll just bring you outside because as soon as they get out of the paint, he was absolutely terrible. And they were just hitting pick and pops all day. And if you want to double him, he's going to kill you with the passing. So while I do believe that Ayton is one of the better defenders for Jokic down low, and they're not just going to be able to feed it like they did against Portland, right, where it was we'll just feed him in the post and just have like a 140 offensive rating. I do think that he matches up with Ayton on the ability to beat him on the perimeter. So these are my reasons for liking the Nuggets. It seems like we are both there. I split my unit up. I put half on the money line, half on the point spread, and I didn't touch the total, 221.5. But what do you think here? I wouldn't be surprised to see this one go under, and it's another reason why I was thinking of pretty much only putting players from the first game into my DFS lineup.
Makes complete sense. I mean, you could get a defensive battle here. I mean, you really could. The Suns have done a good job of that all season long, slowing teams down, making it kind of a muddy, dirty game, and not great for fantasy purposes or for going over a total. Just to add on to your talking points, I mean, the way to me in my head that the Nuggets lose this series is if Devin Booker dusts them. And I think that's the clear route to the Suns advancing out of the series is if the Nuggets don't scheme to stop him. Now, it's a lot easier for them to scheme to stop them now because Chris Paul is not 100%. He's not going to be 100% all season long. So you can kind of, take some defensive attention off Chris Paul. You put that on Devin Booker. Bridges is out there for defensive purposes. Jay Crowder. Now, if Jay Crowder is going to hit a lot of open threes, which he's probably going to get in this series, he's probably going to get a lot of open threes like he did last series. He was hitting them. If he's hitting them again, that could cause some issues for the Nuggets. I mean, you have to sell out on Devin Booker. You can't have Devin Booker beat you in the series. If Jay Crowder knocking down open threes beats you, you can live with it. If Bridges knocking down threes in the series beats you, you can live with it. If Chris Paul miraculously gets healthy and he's able to shoot again and he beats you, you can live with it. You cannot live with Devin Booker beating you in this series. I think Mike Malone knows that. I really think Malone knows that. They will have some sort of game plan to slow him down. Now, Devin Booker was great in that last series, specifically at the end of that series. He's one of these players where it's probably going to be hard to stop him when he's on. I mean, he's one of the when he gets hot, he gets absolutely blazing hot. Is it to a level of Damian Lillard? No. And they were able to advance past Damian Lillard in that first round. Yes, Booker's good, not as good as Damian Lillard. I think the Nuggets can do enough to slow him down, which in turn will lead them to winning this series. And just to touch on DFS a little bit more, you clearly we've said it a couple times, you want to focus on the Bucks Nets in DFS. But you're going to have to play some Nuggets guys, especially if you're building multiple lineups. The guys I'd be looking at, Jokic is tough because I want Kyrie, I want Durant, I want Giannis over Jokic.
I was going to just ask you that, right? I mean, a 10-8 for Jokic, 11K for Giannis. Spend the extra 200, right?
Yeah.
Seems a lot.
Yeah, I want all those guys. Like if it's a decision between one of those two and Jokic, give me all those guys over Jokic. I'm fine living with that. Jokic will probably be lower on. That's going to be the route that most people go. I'm fine with it. Michael Porter Jr. I think is fine. He's 7.1K on DK. We saw what he can do. Like, when he's on, it doesn't matter what the defense does. He's just on. Phenomenal first half in that last game against Portland. I think he's in play. Austin Rivers, good fair price tag on DK, 4K. If he's going to play a lot of minutes, which I think there is some risk of him losing minutes here to a guy like Monty Morris. But, you almost have to just forget about that. Hope he gets the minutes, 4K. On the Phoenix side, Devin Booker's clearly in play. I think Jay Crowder's a solid play, too. He's going to play a lot of minutes here. Chris Paul, I think in tournaments, give it a look. I mean, maybe the injury is a little bit better. Maybe he's able to give it a full go. I mean, they didn't need him in those last two games. I mean, they're essentially blowouts. So we don't know how many minutes he really would have played in closer games. I mean, the last two games in the Lakers series, blowout, so he really wasn't needed all that much. But I mean, my favorites here would definitely be Porter Jr., Austin Rivers, and probably Jay Crowder when you consider price.
Yeah, I was just going to point out Austin Rivers. I'm not as worried about his minutes as much, and here's the reason why. Campazzo's an irritant, right? So I think he works against guys like De'Aaron Fox and John Morant who are younger, right? And they just get kind of annoyed, and they're like, what is this guy doing, right? Yeah. Veterans like Damian Lillard and Chris Paul are just like, whatever, bro. You really think I'm going to fall for this? You know what I'm saying? So in my mind, I think that lends well to Rivers getting some more minutes. And it's funny, as much as people talk down on him, I'm not actually down on him. I never watch his minutes and think these are hurting the team. Right? He's a solid defender. He doesn't force shots. He'll take them when he's open to get the space on the floor. I mean, I think he's been absolutely fine for his role here. Possibility of getting Will Barton back. It says on the 9th. That would be for the next game. And then P.J. Dozier could potentially return on the 13th, which would be an interesting addition there on the home stretch of this series. But I think we definitely agree there. Was there anything else you wanted to touch on before we give out the best bets?
No, I mean, I think we covered like Monty Morris. I guess I should have thrown his name out there. I think he's definitely in play as well in DFS. Just, I mean, he's really the one that got them over the hump in that. Without him, I don't know if they would have won that series.
No, they don't. They lose. Yeah.
Yeah, they lose for sure. I mean, he's probably, obviously Jokic is their most important guy. He's probably number two in that series. I mean, stepped up and just played a phenomenal role for them all series. They're going to obviously go to him here quite often. Yeah, maybe it's Compazzo that ends up. If Chris Paul is not 100%, I mean, I guess the reason you have Compazzo out there is probably for Chris Paul. If he's not 100%, I mean, they don't need him out there defensively. So maybe Morris is the guy, but definitely like Morris.
Maybe he could annoy Campaign though, right? Campaign's
Yeah,
kind of young enough to where he might fall for that some of that stuff. And he's
yeah.
another one, right? Fantastic series. Fantastic series. He didn't look too good down the stretch there when it really got crunchy, and it got swept under the rug because Booker said, "Give me the team, jump on my back. I got you guys, right?" But if they lose that game six, I mean, I think there's a chance that they might lose that series, right? And Campaign and Chris Paul definitely were not inspiring down the stretch. I wasn't inspired by the Suns team as much as you were. I think that with Anthony Davis, that Lakers team was a contender. I think without them, they were a play-in team. Right, so
Yep.
so you just beat a playing team, and everyone thinks that you're the greatest team in the world. Devin Booker was fantastic. Let me see him do it against a bigger defender because when AD played, I think he got like 17 and 21. When AD didn't play, he was over 35 each game, right? So he struggles against bigger defenders. I mean, he just feasts on Caruso and the guys that are the same size, and it
Yeah.
makes sense because he's so athletic here. So all right, looks like we found a lot there. I mean, if you couldn't build a DFS lineup with the information that Hoop just gave you, I don't know what else you could do except for sign up for Run Pure Sports. Use the promo code. What's the promo code right now?
RPS Heater 25,
Yep.
25% off your first payment of a monthly package. So the DFS and bets combo, $100. Typically includes everything on the website. Use that 25% off. You can try it out for 75 bucks.
All right, access to the Discord, access to the core plays, and I saw a little, someone loves to jump in your mentions whenever you post that you did something good, right? And they say, "Oh, members don't win," right? And then the whole thread is just all members just
Yeah,
posting their screenshots
yeah,
over
yeah.
and over again. So, hey guys, check it out, right? I mean, you can just cancel if you don't like it, but I personally think it is the best value you can get in sports gambling information. Join the bet size 2 with the promo GetBets25. You'll have access to JJ's plays, my play score with these, and of course Keg on the live show who cleaned up again. I enjoyed hanging out yesterday. Watched him catch that ticket after the Clippers game, and it's been a great time for all the members. So now that we've got all the promotion out of the way, Hoop, it's time for the best bets of the day. What do you like?
There was one spot clearly that we both agreed on and felt really good about it. And I'm not gonna push it and throw something else out there. I mean, for me, the most confident play that I have tonight by far is the Nuggets plus the 5. Like I said, I bet them plus 5, and I bet them money line as well. But to me, the spot I'm most confident in is the Nuggets plus the 5 points. Like I said, I just think it's too wide of a spread, and I kind of had that same approach in the series against the Nuggets. Now, it burned me on a couple occasions, but long term, I did all right because I bet the Nuggets, I think, every game.
I
And I
did
had
too.
them, yeah, I had them in the series. I had some live betting opportunities. I hit it across the board, so it worked out all right. I plan on doing the same thing this series. I'm going to be on the Nuggets. I don't think the spread should be 5. I mean, like I said, it's not necessarily that I'm crunching the numbers and figuring this out. I just think these teams are closer than a 5-point spread. So if you're going to give me 5 points in game 1, I'm going to take it. In game 2, if you give me 5 points, I'm going to take it again. So I'm on the Nuggets plus the 5 today. That's my favorite play on the board.
All right, and I hope the viewers forgive us, but with only 2 games on the board, and us both thinking that the first game on the board is pretty much it's like roulette, right? I mean,
Yeah, yeah,
I do
yeah.
lean the Bucks, but there's just so many variants here that I don't want to get involved with, and I feel so much stronger about this second series, guys. We're gonna only have one best bet of the day. It's gonna be the Nuggets plus 5, and fortunately, from what I've been listening and what I've been reading, this should probably be a different pick than every other show and every other article you read because the Suns love is out in force, and hey, they're a great team, and if our pick fell short, congratulations to those people. But we both like the Nuggets plus 5. That is the best bet for the NBA rundown. I will be back tomorrow with Travis and JSU, and we'll be having a lot of fun. So I hope you guys enjoy the game tonight. Hoop, anything else before we get out of here?
No, looking forward to it. I mean, slow day in the MLB streets. There's only 3 MLB games randomly spread out through the day. I think 5 p.m.
Hmm.
Eastern, like 9 p.m. Eastern, 10 p.m. Eastern. So I'm gonna be focused on NBA. I'm looking forward to these games tonight, and go Nuggets.
All right, go Nuggets. Guys, if you enjoyed this show, please like the video, subscribe to the channel. We'll be back tomorrow at 1 p.m. Eastern. Run.